But I'd like to start out by talking about coaching. And I pulled a couple of pictures here of coaches, famous coaches from the state of South Carolina, one from the Gamecocks and the other from the Clemson Tigers. Swinney?
Swinney.
Yeah. Coach Swinney and Coach Spurrier here to kind of set your mind about what coaching is all about. I'm not going to ask you to emulate these guys because I don't think we would want to exactly adopt their sports techniques for coaching people on a football field in the heat of a game, but there are things that we can learn from people that are very, very good at coaching. And I think the first thing that we need to understand is what coaching is really all about, particularly in the operating room. Coaching in the operating room is about listening to see what's going on, watching the team, watching them perform the checklist, listening to their conversations, and listening to their questions. It's also about asking questions to better understand exactly what's going on when the team is working with the checklist. And then finally, and this is the primary goal of coaching, and that's trying to improve people's performance. I think it's easier to understand a little bit more about what this is all about by talking about what coaching is not. Coaching is not about telling. It's not about telling people exactly what to do. And it's certainly not about criticizing them. But it is about observing their behaviors, observing what it is they do, in this case, observing how they use the checklist, and then providing constructive feedback to them about how they might actually use the checklist in a better way. Perhaps a part of it that they don't appear to fully understand, or a part that gets repeatedly skipped over. Just drawing that sometimes to a team's attention can help improve performance in the operating room. Now we're actually, like I said, we're planning on demonstrating that next week to you and actually have a little coaching session as part of the call. Now one of the things, again, that's really important about coaching is asking questions. And if you'll look at the questions that I put here on the slide, you'll see that they have a certain form to them. The first piece is something that you, as the coach, notice or see or observe. And the important part of that is that you, as the coach, own the observation. Then the second part of the question, and you can see it here, can you help me understand? Can you explain? What might you have done differently in this setting? All invites the team to kind of solve their own problem. And in order to answer your question, you have to think pretty deeply about what it is that you saw in order to be able to explain to you why they did or they didn't do what it was that you observed. Now we're going to talk more about that next week, but I want you to think about this style of asking questions because it can play a critical role in helping to coach people. So, an observation that you, the coach, own, followed by a question to help the team understand what it is that you're concerned about and how they might be able to solve their own problem and improve their own performance. The last thing I want to touch on is who makes a good coach. Because as we talk about having people go in to coach in the operating room, not everybody makes a great coach. So I've listed off here for you 3 characteristics that I think are really important in a good coach. A coach needs to be coachable. If you have somebody who you believe is not coachable, then they shouldn't be a coach, because in order to understand coaching, you have to understand what it is to be able to be coached. It's very desirable that they be respected by their peers, and then finally, that they understand how to give feedback. And asking those questions in that particular style is a very important way of giving feedback to people in the operating room without threatening them. Like I said, what coaching is really important, and being critical is obviously not going to get you anywhere in a place like an operating room. So we have to learn ways to give constructive feedback, and I think there's some simple formulas that we can follow to be able to do that pretty effectively. Again, we're going to talk more about that next week.